Come on in.
Ba-ba-ba-bum.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of American flyover country. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, under the radar but over the top. And as always, for your Sunday morning pleasure, I'm joined by R. Wayne Steiger. This is not your normal Sunday show. We ask you come in, take your seat, and turn in your hymnals to Stairway to Heaven.
Love it. How are you, Jeff?
I'm great. And it's nice to see Ciara, the beauty killer. It's nice to see Cliff Desmond back in the house. It's been a minute. Cliff's been fighting some health battles. And, of course, Truth Seeker, Rick and Delaney, Olga, Material Classified, Cynthia, Tracy, Blaze and Shane, Ann, Daniel, Melanie, Nikki, Brenda, Paul, Aaron, Rob, Nightlace, Mary, Warrior Queen. Always welcome.
Always.
Free Thinker, Carmen, and many, many others. And like Wayne does, I join him in calling favor upon each and every one in the chat room today.
Agreed on that. Double
Wayne,
portion.
I heard something this morning that I haven't heard in a long time. I said it, but I still haven't heard it in a long time. I said, just rub some dirt on it. It'll be all right. You remember those days?
A long time ago. Yeah.
But that was our world. That's really the way we rolled.
Yeah. I can remember as a kid, my summers were spent working in the garden and on the farm, and we didn't wear shoes. Our feet were as tough as leather. Yeah.
Mine still are, because I grew up not wearing shoes, and I still don't. But I can literally remember skinning my knee, playing baseball or something, and just rubbing dirt on it and going on.
Move on.
That's what Dad always said.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell about it.
Well, and look at you now. There's good foundation to that. We grew up in the earth. The earth was everywhere,
And someone was just asking me yesterday, and Wayne, I don't know what's your take on this? Do you remember when we were kids, when we were growing up, was there a lot of this tubes in the ears and ear infections like there are today?
I don't ever remember any kid getting an ear infection.
I don't remember any kid ever having tubes in his ears either.
No, never. No. That kid would have been ridiculed.
It would have been horrible.
It would have been, oh, man.
Hey, hose ears. It would have been awful.
Oh, it would have been terrible. Could you imagine what fifth graders would have done to someone like that?
No, it's
brutal. It's all I got to say.
I wasn't a Christian. I wasn't nothing. And one of my saddest moments was some kid and I were squared off in the hallways of the elementary school. And he said something about he started to back down and said, I have spinal bifida. And I said something about giving him facial bifida. And he started crying. I felt so bad.
Oh, man.
So do you think it's because kids don't get out anymore and they're not as resistant to infection as we were? Because they don't have we had to build up some pretty serious antibodies.
Well, you think about it. I was born in 1955. Basically, the air was still the air. The soil was still the soil. It was good. But today, kids, everything. Think about it. Jeff, you and I remember getting my polio vaccine. Do you remember that?
I got the scar to prove it. Isn't that the polio one?
Yeah, right. And we did it on a Saturday, and everyone went to the elementary school. Yeah. But we lived in such a time where, I don't think things were that screwed up yet, Jeff. I really don't.
I don't either. Tracy suggests that ultrasounds may affect the developing ears.
Well, I think so. I think the history books are not closed on what Wi-Fi is doing to us. Yeah. I call it Wi-Fry.
Yeah.
Because it is exactly what it's doing. It's frying us.
Was the environment a lot less toxic then, as Free Thinker suggests?
I think it was to a greater degree. We didn't have Roundup. You didn't have these glycosamates that are out there contaminating. If it wasn't for the insecticides and the herbicides, we wouldn't be eating.
Right. And Sterling's making our point. He says, hose ears, that's not very kind. I remember hearing impaired children in elementary school, and children have always gotten ear infections.
Well, Sterling, I was, first grade for me, my friend, was 1961. And I was a carrier of strep throat.
Oh, nice. You were
Yeah.
very popular.
Actually, I got, they wouldn't let me in school for 2 weeks. My dad was in the Air Force, so I had to go to the Air Force Base, McCullen, twice a day for penicillin shots.
Oh, and the scar is actually smallpox. I've been informed.
Smallpox.
Yeah.
What do we say?
I think we said polio or something. I don't know.
Oh, well, yeah.
Anyway, that big scar. They don't do that anymore, I guess.
I don't think they do. Yeah.
Nobody has the big round scar on their shoulders anymore, and everybody used to have it.
You know, they're finding now many cases now showing up across the United States of measles. And we had that pretty well knocked out. I mean, I had chicken pox, I had the measles. I mean, you had these childhood diseases, but we got inoculated from those. And my cousin, she got polio, and I can still remember this day. They actually had an iron lung moved into the house because, yeah.
And Rocker Chick just hit on one of my favorite hobby horses to ride. One of them is the microwave is toxic to you. Why do you use them? And the other one is sunscreen causes more cancer than the sun. And Rocker Chick just brought that out, and I believe that. You may think I believe that's true. I
think today we're dealing with a different type of element in our atmosphere. I think that we know this. We can measure from 1960 to what would be today in 2019. When you look at the cosmic ray index, it's off the chart. We didn't have that problem back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s.
Rex made an interesting point yesterday in one of his videos. He talked about when the sun is up in the air, it looks like it's white, but as it begins to set, it returns to that what we call normal yellow color. And he was postulating that it's not the sun that's changing, but it's the atmosphere that's changing.
I think it's right. They announced this week that the ocean colors are changing. That's due to light.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, did they say what it's changing to?
They say that you're going to see much more darker blues to almost purple.
Really? Of the ocean itself?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
In fact, I'm doing, last night I was up late. I'm postulating this. So we see a dichotomy of taking place in the weather. We see, areas getting really cold, Europe. Here in the United States, we experienced what a polar vortex can do. But yet the oceans continue to warm. But I postulate this, that because of the way plastics break down in the ocean, I contend that it's plastic that's actually the culprit that is warming our oceans.
That's interesting.
Yeah. When you look at what plastic does, it never dissolves. It's not biodegradable. And it forms basically this layer that's about, 2-3 feet below the surface. And I contend that it's holding artificial heat.
Wasn't it The Graduate? I got one word for you: plastics.
Plastics. A famous line.
Yeah. And it's interesting you mentioned that, because I remember being in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii for a couple of years, and I was on the Big Island, and they have a resort there where you swim. It's got like a man-made lake in the middle of it. And I don't know if suntan lotions and stuff like that are plastics, but I remember if you went under the water and opened your eyes, you could see like this thick of a layer of oils and suntan lotion and stuff on top.
That's like immersing yourself into a soup,
That's why I started swimming in the ocean.
Oh, it's everywhere. Plastic is everywhere.
Is that plastic? Would you say the suntan lotion and stuff like that is
I think
plastic?
and the emollients,
petroleum anyway.
Yeah, the emollients that they're using in there are most often artificial. Better living through chemicals, Jeff.
And remember, the largest organ in your body, even for you men that are full of yourself, the largest organ in your body is your skin.
It is. I love this skin, man.
It's the only skin you got.
I mean, talk about a skin job. Yeah. And it's what the spirits envy. It's that great scene in Ghost Remember when Patrick Swayze's down in the subway and the ghost is showing him, kind of the basic rules about, hey, this is the new reality for you. And the guy wanted a cigarette. And they broke the cigarette machine, and he said, oh, if I could just have a drag.
Yeah, I remember seeing that movie, but I don't remember it at all.
Oh, man, go back and see it. It's a great, great movie.
I remember Patrick Swayze more for Roadhouse.
Pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Point Blank, him and
What was the one he was in with Helen Hunt where she played the violin, and Next of Kin, that was called.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
We're dating ourselves.
But yeah, there we go. So how was your week?
Well, someone just informed me that skin is ruled by Saturn, but they did put a smiley face on it.
There's a lot about Saturn.
You bring up Roadhouse, and that brings up Sam Elliott, and I wonder if he's been drinking the same stuff that what's his name from the Stones has been drinking, Keith Richards.
Keith Richards. That's so funny. I don't know.
They both were born 85, but they haven't aged a day since.
I saw a picture of Bill Murray yesterday at Pebble Beach, and wow, age has not done him well.
Bill Murray?
Yeah. It's just, and it's odd,
It's in the hole.
It's in the hole. But Saturn, that is by the way, so I have a theory.
Predictably, all the women are gushing about Sam Elliott.
Well, Sam Elliott, my wife gushes over Sam Elliott.
Well,
he was
that's not a surprise.
The best movie I think that I like Sam Elliott was in Tombstone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that will go down as one of the classics. So I'm doing research on
one of his best lines in that movie was, "Oh hell!" Oh no, that was Kurt Russell. Anyway, sorry.
No, I did a thing on cemeteries, and I had this, and
we talked about that.
Yeah, and so I did one, and actually I had a gentleman write me who owns a cemetery in Louisiana, and was just giving me more insight to what the cost is for.
Well, I'm glad you pronounced that right. It is Louisiana.
Louisiana. That's exactly right. No Southern boy would happen to be caught saying something.
Cynthia says, "Who's Sam Elliott? I've got to Google him." Really?
Really?
Wow.
Ooh. Wow. Okay.
Hunger Games likes Keanu Reeves. Guilty pleasure. ...
Keanu in his day was cool. Hey, and Speed.
He's still cool.
So, when you talk about Saturn, I am doing research that clearly shows something happened that Saturn was at one time our sun.
Right.
And the human beings that were alive then, they were called the golden people. Literally. Their skin, and we know it's possible even in our skin suits, the pigmentation. Anyway, different radiation. And here's the interesting thing. It appears because of this radiation, this background, that other species walked among our species. We call them gods.
Interesting.
And whenever this division, this capture took place, they put Saturn away from us so that the Earth would no longer be influenced by Saturn's radiation. And we got what we have today called the sun, that we call this bright box.
Where was the sun when Saturn was our sun?
I don't think it was here.
Really?
I do not. Postulate this. We know that the Sagittarius dwarf ecliptical galaxy has collided with the Milky Way. The Milky Way is you can say it's a cannibalistic galaxy. It eats other smaller galaxies, and there's a number of small galaxies that is being about to be consumed. My point is, there is a postulation of a thought that there was a collision of the planets. They called it the stacking problem, that something took place. And very possibly that our planets that we see today, this is not the order that they came in at. We actually were brought into this, and this sun captured us, which we see this happen all today in cosmology. We see suns capture other suns, other planets.
Are Saturn's rings disappearing?
I think they're actually, we actually see that in this point of view, but it looks like something's artificially building them.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
And Athena reports that Hawaii has asked people not to use sunscreen when swimming.
Yeah, I think that would probably make a lot of good sense. Think about it. But, the sun today is just, it's harsh. It's not. I used to surf as a teenager, loved surfing. And I don't remember the sun like it is here. I mean, now, granted, I live at almost 6,000 feet of elevation, so it's a little brighter, but it seems to be more harsher today, is what I'm saying.
I grew up in Florida, spent my whole life there, was out every single day. And I'm one of those guys that, I don't know if I'm just not very observant, or as George Bush might say, I'm not very observatory. But I don't see any difference in the sun myself. That's just me.
Yeah, heat-wise or feeling on the UV index?
No, I don't see any difference.
Yeah, well, we do know on the UV index that is traceable. And 20 years ago, your UV index never went above an 8, a 9 was considered pushing it. Now the UV indexes are going to 17, 19.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Check it out.
Yeah, I've seen the effects of it. I have talked people out of sunbathing all the time because of the effect it was having. And I don't know why. Just to me, visually, I don't see a difference, but obviously I'm missing something.
I bought a wheelbarrow last year and left it out on the side of the house.
That's about the last thing I would have ever expected you to say, Wayne.
Yeah,
that moment.
I bought a wheelbarrow. And so I left it outside on the west-facing part of the house. When I brought it in for the winter, the paint had completely been bleached.
Interesting. You know what, Wayne? That reminds me of a story. One time when I was pastoring, there was a guy, very wealthy guy in the church. He lived next door to me, and he never tithed. And I was the pastor, and of course, I knew he never tithed. And the church bought a new lawnmower. I was going to keep it at my house because they didn't want to come mow the lawn, but at least they buy a lawn mower for me to use.
Mighty righteous of them.
So I parked it on the side of the house for like a couple days, and he saw it, and then I moved it inside, and he came over and he said, well, what happened to the new lawnmower? I said, oh, well, I moved it inside because I know you robbed God. You wouldn't hesitate to rob me.
Pastor Jeff.
And he started paying tithes. How about that?
Did he really?
He did.
Paying the tax to God.
He did. He was bringing the tithe all into the storehouse. And at that point, the storehouse was my house.
Oh, man, brother. I tell you, I said it on my show last week. I want my money back. I mean, in my lifetime, I've given almost $1 million. I want my money back.
Well,
it was a con.
I would have liked to have been your pastor, Wayne.
Kenneth Copeland received a lot of it.
And he's enjoying it every time he gets in his jet.
And I paid a lot for that jet. Never got to ride in it either.
So he wouldn't even give people rides?
Hell no.
You'd think if you gave $100,000 or something, he'd give you a ride.
You just got a plaque.
A plaque?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with a plaque? You can't ride a plaque anywhere.
It was, that little plaque for the, yeah.
Wow.
I tell you.
I'm hearing that in Romania, the sun was white today.
Interesting. I'm going to have a guest from Bulgaria on this week.
Interesting. And I saw something on Mr. MB 333. I don't know how many threes there are, but of a cloud that had some rotating lights in it that looked really weird yesterday. And it looked like how they do it. I hate to say this, but the only thing I've ever seen is strip joints. When they open up, they have like 4 spotlights going around
Oh,
up in the
disco.
sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it looked like that, but it wasn't coming from the ground. So it was pretty weird.
I have a theory, but
What's your theory, Wayne?
oh, so
It's Sunday morning. It's time for theories.
well, I'm contending.
And if you turn, the next hymn that we'll be going to is Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
So find that in your book.
So the Elohim, I contend that the Elohim is a race of beings that steal technology. That they're the ones who took the light from Saturn because it gave the humans immortality. And when the Elohims came into this quadrant of space, Earth, valuable in resources, Earth is truly been raped by the Elohim. And this is my contention, that the Elohim stole the tree of life. That they were somehow able to transmute this energy, this radiation, that the Earth and Saturn and the configuration of the yesteryear, that the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, for instance, is something that I think that they could not control. And when they found out the vulnerability that had been stolen by us, get where this is going at, they immediately pulled out with this tree of life. And I think that this tree of life is, in fact, nothing more than what we see in the Sumerian hieroglyphs of this radiation being drawn in.
So you think they dug up the tree of life and took it with them, huh?
I think it's a piece of technology.
That's interesting.
I don't think it's an actual tree. I think it's a piece of technology that radiates an energy field that when you get into it, it gives you immortality.
Well, Wayne, if it's not a tree, how did they get apples off of it?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how the snake got in there.
Yeah.
And so
I think the snake was there in a rescue mission.
Well, so my whole point to this is I am really doing, I'm reading this book right now called Eden at Eltai. Wow. So let me run this through, because I'm going to do a video this week that is going to piss off people all around the world. Let's say that you and I are driving through a country and we come upon this community. And we look at this community and it says, men only. You and I walk in. My wife has to stay out. Your significant other can't come in. So you and I are going to check it out. So as we go in here, all we see are men. In fact, their top echelon guy is a male. He is surrounded by 24 advisors. They're all male. They have a group of thugs that we could say call angels. They're all male.
Sounds like Gaytopia.
I contend that God is a homosexual, and I'm going to do a video this week, Is God Gay? Because here is my contention. In every religion today, it is a patriarchal, male, monotheism structure. The female is completely left out. In fact, as I'm finding out, there is a history that has been discovered right in the northern part of Europe, going into a little part of Russia, in these Altairy Mountains, that there is in fact evidence that shows the original humans, dating back 40,000 years ago, worshiped the creator goddess.
Oh, yeah, the first, I have 2 years of associate's degree in anthropology, and there's no doubt that the first worship was of goddesses. And Wayne, it sounds like you're saying that Yahweh's heaven is a sausage fest.
It is. You look at the Elohim. You look at the Anunnaki. Show me the women. Show me the females.
Yep.
In fact, it's so degrading. At one point, we have, well, I won't say this because we want to keep the show on here, but it's very obvious something's wrong here, brother.
Yeah.
No male can give birth to anything.
That's true.
Listen, if you want to get real pragmatic
Ooh,
about
now
this,
this is kind of witty, but also if you think it through, is Yahweh a member of NAMBLA? You know what NAMBLA is?
oh yeah, that's the promotion of men and boys
The
having
North
sex.
American Man-Boy Love Association, and it really is an association.
This Yahweh, this Elohim called Yahweh, only deals with males.
Wow, we got a really foul troll, and it's just that easy to get rid of him. I don't know why they bother. If they understood that it's a push of one button,
Bye.
they probably wouldn't do it. Yeah.
See, they can't handle this because what we are injecting here is cognitive dissonance. This is a complete 180-degree paradigm of the perception of what reality is. The whole God structure, creator structure, all male dominant, all male centric, all male. Folks, if that isn't a homosexual, I don't know what is.
Yeah. It really is.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to hell for that one, Wayne.
Valerie makes an interesting point. Even the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Yeah, and how we know that the Holy Ghost is male dominant? Well, he hovered over Mary, apparently. The other two weren't going to do it.
Well, he's the one that carried the seed and did the deed, wasn't
Yeah, I
he?
guess he was, I mean,
Massive phallic symbols all over the earth.
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it's been purposely removed. Lilith. I was awake at 4 o'clock this morning. Someone was speaking to me, and this is what was being brought to me. I saw the whole Council of 24. I saw the whole hierarchy of structure. Then I saw these archangels and the angels, all male.
Mm-hmm.
All male.
Well, anti-popular, it matters if the female is being systematically suppressed and oppressed.
I think so. I think that this race called Elohim came in. I don't know what happened. It's been wiped from our memory, but whatever it was, it had to be bloody. I don't think it was pretty at all. And we have evidence of that all through the Old Testament. As I keep telling people, I'm going to do a show this week called Wanted, the Elohim who calls himself Yahweh for crimes against humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Because
so we have the phallus everywhere. Where's the vagina?
It's absent.
MIA.
Removed. It's removed purposely. And, this thing starts beginning to look weird about 8,000, 10,000 years ago when something came in, and I don't know what it is. It's obviously a presence. It's an energy. But brother, we're living in the dark age. We really are. I'm convinced we're in a black hole. I think that whatever this thing was, it swallowed us. And Earth, Lilith, I don't know. You know what? I have a theory on this, my friend. I think it wasn't the fallen angels that they put in this pit, this technological cell. They put Lilith there. They put the goddess Earth there. Anyway.
And somebody says this, and I disagree. I don't think there's any. It's not so much that I disagree, but I don't think there's any real objective empirical evidence for it. Somebody says that. Where'd it go? Doggone it. Where'd it go? Something about where is it? The Jezebel entity robs men of their masculinity. Please show me this Jezebel entity or any proof of this or any Jezebel entity anywhere except for Yahweh Baby Killer's Bible.
Folks, everything you think about in your demonology, in your methodology, your perception of spirituality, etc., has come from Rome. You've been indoctrinated. It's everywhere. And it's offensive to when people hear me saying, listen, this male character is all wrong here, folks. It's so one-sided. And I was there one time. You were there, Jeff. You preached it from the pulpit. You pulled them into the pit.
Here's something interesting. Jason Rio says the Milky Way, he equates the Milky Way to looking like a vagina.
I have to look at that.
Yeah, me too.
I hadn't saw that.
I have not seen that.
But it's just so overwhelming that the feminine has been so emasculated.
And Wayne, since you went there, we might as well go here. We've got somebody in the chat room saying, and this is, I hope it's a joke, because this is the basic misunderstanding. Thanks. Now my wife will be doing all the wood chopping and tire changes. Why would you jump to that extreme? There are male roles, there are female roles, and there's things that your wife can do that you can't do. There's things that you can do that she can't do. And there's some things, if you're a gentleman and a real man, that you wouldn't want her to do unless she had to. So let's keep our wits about us, shall we?
In fact, I have something that gentleman should actually read. You should read The 7 Principles of Hermetics. You don't understand gender, sir. You are so darkened in your reasoning, and I'm not putting you down, sir. Understand this. I was there myself. You don't understand gender. And until you understand gender, you're not going to get it. That's all I can say. And it's the shame because of the Western culture.
It is.
And it's just, we've got to change this thing, Jeff. This thing is so unbalanced that it's just, as I said, this is a history book.
Oh, Laquita says Jezebel's a male. Now that's interesting.
You know, I'm becoming almost convinced that Lucifer may, in fact, be female, be the feminine of the wrath of the male Yahweh.
Lucifer, the light bringer, might be Lilith.
I think it is Lilith.
Yeah.
I really do. I'll tell you, I brought the indictment last week against Yahweh. I went through the Old Testament, Jeff, and I already done the New Testament. That one is a bloodshed from the word get-go. But the Old Testament, it's estimated almost over 500 million humans have been sacrificed by Yahweh's command.
500 million?
Yes.
That's a lot of people.
The church, the modern church of Jesus Christ, Roman Catholic and Protestant, is responsible for nearly another 500 million.
And somebody brings this point up, saying, I think, and this is okay because this is good discourse. So how do you explain why hormones are given in foods, etc., consuming or containing estrogen, I think they mean, making weaker girly boys if they're trying to suppress the feminine, I think is the inference.
Well, again, you're bring me the evidence, show me the studies of that. That's hearsay.
Well, I think it's probably undeniably true, Wayne, but the point of the matter is if you're already in charge and you've got all the strength and the energy and you're in charge, then you don't want any strong, vibrant males coming up after you because you don't want to, if you have to fight, you don't want to have to fight anybody other than a soy boy.
You see, and that's because we don't understand gender. We look at this as male, female, and by attributes, attitudes, and customs.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know what they're doing to the human body. Whether they're putting estrogen, whether they're putting hormones. I don't think that is the discussion here. That's a distraction. And the fact is what has happened to us let's keep focus here, folks. We're talking about a male creator and a male matriarch perception of what humanity is today.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's appalling to me, Jeff. At some point, as I keep saying, we've got to change something, Jeff. I keep saying we need the Sapien Summit. We've got to begin to somehow, I don't know how you do it, discourse ourselves of religion. I said one of the requirements of the Sapien Summit, no religion is going to be allowed in. All the world religions are going to be left outside. We know what they do. We're well experienced with that. We've got to come in here as a species, Jeff, and begin to change how we see ourselves.
Right. Absolutely. Somebody said the true masculine is to protect the female, not dominate it. How would you react to that question, that statement?
Listen, I think, again, the female does not need to be protected. All you have to do is study history, folks. Some of the most fierce warriors have been women. Decimate the male. Again, you're perceiving this as a female being lesser. You don't understand equality.
But Wayne, let's just right now, let's say that here I am, I'm about 190 pounds right now, 195 pounds. I'm in pretty good shape. I mean, grab any 100 women off the street and put us in a hand-to-hand combat, I'm probably not going to lose.
Probably not.
I think that's the point that we're making. So, yeah, I think, there is some strength in men that women aren't going to have. But then again, allow it to be a little bit more than a battle of just pure brawn, and I could lose 99 times.
Well, I say this, let's just take and turn the tables here then on that thought, and which I don't have a problem with it. If we started a much more rigorous physicality of training for young girls and allowed them to start playing contact sports, begin to get into the weightlifting, begin to get into these other type of disciplines, I wonder how well you would do on an arm wrestling match to a woman who is basically, let's say, a world's champion on jerk and lift.
Yeah. I think though probably just physiologically.
I know. I'm jiving.
Men are probably stronger overall.
They are. That was the point.
Mm-hmm. But the point is that it's not just brawn. It's also wit. It's also guile. And, women are, it's nice to be protective of your woman, but the woman can also be protective of a man. I mean, I think about your wife. She's a dead-eye shot, right?
I pity the poor fool who would ever try to come. She'd put a bullet right between your eyes in a second, wouldn't think twice about it.
Absolutely. And Eric makes a good point here that even though they're suppressing the feminine, it can be argued that the fish symbol of Christianity is nothing more than the vagina.
Yeah, or infinity.
Yeah.
But here's another thing about the fish. It was not adapted by the Christians. There was another cult that was using the fish before then.
Absolutely.
They're called the cult of Bacchus, folks. And, Jeff, I had a guy that was really trying to take me on the contention that the Jesus story was authentic. And when I tried to explain to him the cult of Bacchus, then the cult of Bacchus is the cult of Dionysus. And if you study Dionysianism, it goes back 3000 BC. It's the story of the virgin birth.
Yeah.
It's the story of the Jesus.
And someone said a woman can throat punch just as easily as a man.
And again, man, I tell you this, we could not endure the pain of our hips separating in childbirth.
No.
It'd kill us. So there's strengths of different kind, I guess.
There are strengths of different kind.
Yes. But, we live in such a time, Jeff, now where knowledge is coming so quickly and it's contradicting everything that we have been taught. I mean, I look at your videos. I mean, people are so into this father-son savior thing that this is the master plan, but they will not accept the history. As I tried to explain to this gentleman yesterday, I said, your Bible goes to extraordinary lengths to associate Jesus, Yeshua, whatever you want to call it, all the way back to Yahweh.
Absolutely.
And they do it numerous times. So don't tell me that there is a different God here. Oddly enough, though, did you see that the article of what the World Council of Churches is debating now? The
What are they
separation,
debating now?
the separation of the Old Testament to Christianity.
Oh, interesting. Separating it from Christianity?
Yeah, yep, throwing it out.
Well, what do they do with all of the prophecies of the coming of the Savior?
Well, they got a real problem. They know they've got a problem. Just
Yeah.
because there's people like you and I that are out there, and there's other voices that are saying, but wait a minute, the indictment has to be fulfilled here. Not prophecy, the indictment. And the problem is the God of the Old Testament is a killer.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I mean, you can't read it without finding that. I mean, it just is the way it is.
And then show me where Lucifer ever commanded one human to kill another human.
Good point.
Show me where Lucifer ever commanded one of his angels or his demons to go out and slay a human. You see, I tried to explain to a woman, she wrote me this heartfelt email. She says, I have worshiped Michael all my life. She says, how can you say Michael has blood on his hands? And I said, well, madam, I didn't say it. His God did.
He did. Michael's probably the head killer for Yahweh.
Yeah, has more human blood on his head and hands than Gabriel. And Gabriel's second. Raphael would come in. These are murderers.
But Wayne, people in the New Age love the Archangel Michael.
That's the problem. They have never left their old religion.
Exactly.
It's called Hellenization.
People take me to task for this. I'm not so sure. There may be some good ones, but boy, the angels are called the ministers of Yahweh for no reason, ladies and gentlemen. They are called the ministers of Yahweh. I don't know that the angels are there to do any good for us at all.
Yeah. They don't bother me. I try to tell this person that I don't have spirits bothering me anymore.
Me either.
Go ahead. You can say
the Most High does all things, good or bad. Boy, if you really want to plug in and believe that,
really want to go with that?
We probably can't help you. We probably can't help you if you're going to accept that as a postulate for your life. I mean,
seriously, have fun. I mean, you think about what you just said. So by that statement, good and bad, then what you've indicted is your own God for murder.
Yeah, exactly. And it's okay with you if he kills.
And that's what amazes me. Are you so callous against humanity that you find exception to gods who kill us? Don't give me this holy crap. The guy wrote me yesterday this long dissertation, and I asked him, I said, which genus of man sinned?
Yeah.
And I said, so tell me, is God a Christian?
And he comes back with, I can give you a scripture to prove it. Wayne, I'm telling you, the Bible is true because the Bible says it's true. And somebody just said that the Most High is obviously Tommy Chong.
My friend, don't give me the script. You're talking to two dudes right here that would run laps around you.
Yeah.
We know of what we speak about. Your problem is you're under a God spell. It's a spell. It's a script. Look it up. Do your history. Do your work on this. That's why, brother, you read it every day. You've got to. That's how the spell is enforced.
You got to keep the indoctrination going. It's just a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. You can
That's
get
all it is. You can get out of it. It for me and Jeff, it wasn't a fun experience, but
man, it takes a long time even if you want to get out of it, or at least it did for me. What about this statement that everybody has their own truth?
Absolutely. I do not listen. I am totally in line with that.
Yeah, but does the truth that everybody have line up with objective truth always?
Subjective to the individual. Again, each of us live in our own reality.
Our friend's looking up the scripture.
Go for it.
I don't think you understand. I don't think you're following our line of
I
discussion.
don't think it is either, but
You can't say, I mean, I can't take, strangely enough, I don't have a book within my arm's reach except for a Bible. You can't say this is true because this book says it's true. That's called circular reasoning.
Here we go. Let's just take his point. This is the gospel. I can tell you. And by the way, my friend, remember that scripture you're reading was brought to you by a channeler.
That's right.
Remember, that's the occult, brother. So read your scripture. But you see, this is my Bible. No, wait a minute. This is my Bible. Oh, no, wait a minute. This is my Bible. You see, they're all words.
They're all words.
I have a document I'll share with you, Jeff, 1672 on the magic of words. Old sucker. And I got it in PDF form, and I'll send it to you. Haven't even had a chance to look at it.
That's 1642?
1672, I think it's the date on it.
Wow.
But they knew the magic of words. You know, listen, that's why when you go into church, what do? They do the invocation.
Yep.
They do. And, anyway.
And the scripture that this person gave us was Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Exactly.
You just indicted him.
Why do you want to serve a God? I'll share it just for shucks and grins.
Yeah, let's do this.
Why do you want to serve a God? Let's see which. I've been having a little trouble with my screen share. I want to make sure the right screen comes up.
I think you got the right one here. Yeah.
Okay. So I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. Why do you want to serve a God that creates evil? Why do you want to serve a God that creates darkness and brags about it? Why would you serve that kind of a God?
And is the Lord in that reference there, is that reference to Baal? Majesty?
Well, you know, it's the Tetragrammaton. It's Yahweh. That's all we know from the text.
It's Yahweh, folks.
Yeah.
He said right there to you. And I had to quote it's Matthew, I forget which one, where Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace. I came to bring division, and division by the sword.
Yep.
I mean, folks, this is murder against our species. When are we going to wake up to this? We have been slaughtered for these imaginary gods, and I challenge you, my friend, who keeps quoting the scripture, show me God. When has any God ever manifested before humanity?
Yeah. And if you want to worship a God that kills babies, and a God that kills women, a God that kills children, a God that kills men, a God that kills women, a God that says he's jealous, a God that says he's wrathful, a God that says he's vengeful, you can. I'm not going to.
I ain't going there. You know, when I remember reading in Joshua what he did to the Mennonites.
And I say that God is no God, and I will withstand him to his face, and I'm still here.
If a God requires one drop of human blood, that's no God. It's a murderer.
And if a God requires worship, it's not a God.
It's not a God. Do you know what the God Yahweh did to women? That the Israelites, if they weren't wiped out, the genocide, cutting babies from the mother's womb. You're telling me your God, your Jesus, the one who associates, you're going to worship that?
Not me.
You know, the other thing, slavery. Yahweh, he was the one who endorsed it. Sexual slaves, he's the one who started it. Doubt me? Go read exactly what he told Moses when they captured women. If they had not laid with man, they were sex slaves.
Well, let's just bring it down. Well, see, that's all New Testament. That's all the Old Testament, Wayne. That's not the New Testament. No, in the New Testament, Paul says very plainly that the woman was created, wait for this, ladies, the woman was created for the sexual pleasure of the man. How do you feel about that, ladies?
And dear friend, in the New Testament, I have one challenge for you. In fact, I'll pay you $100 right here. I'm saying it out there. And Jeff and I, we reach nearly 5,000 people every week on this show.
And I'll pay you Wayne's $100 too.
Show me the 3 names that they nailed on the cross.
What do you mean by that, Wayne?
Show me the 3 names that Pilate supposedly nailed above the head of Jesus on the cross.
Yeah. And I heard this. I haven't had a chance to look it up, talking about using nuns as sex slaves in the Catholic Church.
There was an article in Christianity Today on that.
Oh, really?
Yes, the Pope admitted it.
The Pope admitted it?
Yeah, forced abortions, nuns that have been in basically sexual slaves to monks, priests, cardinals, bishops.
All the nun sex slave scandals, a fresh blow to the Catholic Church. That's a regrettable headline, but Pope Francis admitted Catholic priests use nuns as sex slaves. You know, I'm not anyone to defend this practice, but don't the nuns say that they're being married to Jesus when they become a nun?
I think technically that's just it. I didn't expect them to. I don't know if they thought that the other part was part of the deal.
They probably didn't.
So, you know, this is the myth.
And I love this. Francis says, should we do something more? Yes. Is there the will? Yes. It's a path we've already begun. So how long do you have to think about what you should do to guys that have been raping women? How long of a convocation do you need to figure that one out, Franny boy?
Pope Pius XII, folks. Oh, how profitable this myth of Christianity has been to us.
Yep.
I didn't say it. They said it.
The Catholic Church admitted Tuesday it dissolved a congregation of nuns in France because they were being used as sex slaves by priests.
Yeah.
You know, is it wrong that part of me says at least they weren't using little boys anymore?
You don't be so quick to say that yet.
That's true. The nuns signed up for it. Now, it's not that I don't feel bad for the nuns.
It's the hypocrisy of what we're doing in here. But yet we will excuse this and say, well, you know, God's all forgiving. No, he ain't. If he's all forgiving, then why is there hell?
And that's right. And think of this, Wayne. Pope Francis admitted that the church has a major problem with clerical abuse of nuns. So if the Pope admits that it's a major problem, then it's a major problem.
It's a major problem. It's probably going to potentially, when the nuns start suing, in which they will, it could literally take the Vatican down.
Pope Benedict had the courage to dissolve a female congregation, which was at a certain level because this slavery of women had entered it, slavery even to the point of sexual slavery on the part of the clerics or the founder. He had the courage to dissolve it. How much courage does it take?
Are you kidding me? You don't understand how that organization works. They've known about this, my friend. It was from the beginning. The Catholic Church is the outgrowth of the cult of Bacchus. If you understand who the Flavians were, the Herodians, and the Alexandrians, you will begin to understand how this came about.
So, Wayne, not only do we have the scandal of pedophilia rampant within the Catholic Church, now we have the scandal of women being raped within the Catholic Church. So the Catholic Church is nothing but a bunch of bullies.
Sexual predators.
Just a bunch of bully sexual predators. It's almost to the point where you need to call a worldwide convocation of Catholics and drop one of those bombs that kills people, but it doesn't destroy architecture, because we could use that pretty building for something else.
A neutron bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this is why I think a Sapien Summit is needed. We've got to break this mind.
You know what's time for? It's time for a convocation of all Catholic clergy where somebody that knows the recipe from Jonestown mixes up the communion wine. That would solve all our problems.
Oh, God. they blocked the video, our show last week on advertising on my channel.
They did. Me too.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to do this one too. They're on to us now. So let's just put it out there. The religions today are all predatory. They're predatory in their design. And the thing about it is, it makes us predators upon ourselves. I mean, it doesn't take common sense that if a priest is screwing a nun, that in their faith and their denominational belief, folks, that's a sin that'll take you to hell. Oh, I get it. No, because the priest can go and look in the mirror and say, I absolve myself of my sin.
But Wayne, it's more, I can see it. Well, sister, didn't you, when you took your vows, didn't you marry Jesus? Well, yes, Father, I did. Are I not the representative of Jesus?
There you go.
Yes, Father. Are you not my wife? And there you go. And the rest is not fit for Sunday morning discussion.
I was going to say, that almost sounds like porn.
It sounds like a bad porn movie, doesn't
Oh,
it?
it does. I mean, oh, Father. Oh, come on. Oh, we are tipping over the sacred
Eric, just
cows.
because you call your God the Most High doesn't mean that he is. He's no more the Most High than Tommy Chong, who somebody said earlier. All your God is some measly, rotten, exposed little pipsqueak failure that doesn't have the guts to do his own wet work. And he's being called out. He's being exposed, and it's over for him. In fact, I think your God has probably already fled the system, and you're out there defending somebody that's already run away and left you holding the bag, cousin.
Yeah, he ain't coming back. Not Yahweh.
No.
You know why? We will take care of them. And that's the problem. We have become a species now that there's so many of us. Jeff, your voice, mine, the others, Rex, everyone else that's adding to this. We're breaking the matrix on this. Could you imagine, how is Yahweh going to come back? In his kebab? Number one, the U.S. military or the Russian or Chinese would take him down. I mean, he'd have to have technology that would be so far evasive. And that's all we're dealing with here, is a being called Elohim's. Isn't that odd, Jeff, that most Christians don't know that their God is called Elohim?
Yeah.
That
I'm
it's
beginning to think that all of, well, not all, because I try to avoid words like all and every, but I think the vast majority of Elohim probably do not have our best interests at heart. In fact, they maybe have just the opposite at heart.
I think they're our enemies.
Yeah, I do too.
And this is maybe the coming war that's coming. If the Elohim are here, you and I and others are their worst enemy. They're going to have to shut you and I up.
Yeah.
Because we are telling the people, listen, they kill humans. What, wasn't there a movie that back in the 70s that called They Kill Horses?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. But here's what I want people to understand, Jeff. I love my species. I don't care what color you are. You are a Homo sapien sapien. We're an extinction of a species. These gods kill us. And they do it for sport, apparently. We've got to change that, Jeff. That's just what I think.
Crazy stuff. It really is. I don't know how I missed this thing about the nuns. They're actually admitted they're using nuns as sex slaves.
Yeah.
Every now and then, Wayne, chick tracks get it right.
And the thing about it is, you and I have talked about this. Every church that I was a part of back in the 70s and the 80s, even into the 90s, these mega churches, these large churches.
They shoot horses, don't they?
That's it. Thank you. Everywhere, every one of these churches had sexual scandals. All of them. Adultery, people screwing each other, whether it was on the staff, ministerial staff, congregation. So what's going on here?
Wayne, I think you're going to see a lot more scandals within the Protestant church too.
I think so.
Coming years.
I think so.
And let's face it, folks, there's a reason why it's called the missionary position.
That's interesting. I read one of the Barna reports came out this week, and it was real interesting because the millennials do not believe in evangelism. They're shying away from that. Their attitude is everyone should have the right to choose. And of course, if you have more and more people in the secular communities viewing that, that's eventually going to transcend over. As one article I read this week, are we seeing the final fall of Christianity? It's, in fact, he said it's no longer Christianity, it's Christendom. Christianity no longer exists. It's Christendom.
Or churchianity.
Could be, yeah. But I think that you would agree, you're well versed in this. The Christianity that was practiced 1,000 years ago is not the Christianity practiced today. Would you say that?
Oh, not even close.
Yeah, interesting.
And this is another, this happens all the time. The attorney for the Seattle Archdiocese met with this person in the chat room and admitted that they knew that the priest that abused the ex-husband was a pedophile, so they transferred him to the Snohomish Catholic Church, which isn't even an hour's drive out of Seattle.
It gets off scot-free. So the government, It shows you how our government...
Oh, the government's in compliance. I missed that part, Wayne. Good catch.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. And you know what, Wayne? Nuns being used as sex slaves. Do you think that's the majority of the time that's in the missionary position?
I have I don't. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do this, I mean, they certainly aren't going to be playing the Doors. I'm a backdoor man, or or the Lemon Song. I mean, by Led Zeppelin. But yeah, who knows? Maybe they are. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to vision this. What does a priest how do you even go about this? What are... Oh,
I don't understand.
Whew. Now, who was it that would say, "Get that con out of my face"?
Yeah, Nacho Libre. Ooh. And if they're using and abusing nuns and they're using and abusing little boys, then that there's some young priests with some sad stories to tell as well.
I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. So what they're going to do? They're going to blame this on Satan, the devil.
The devil made me do it.
And I think the devil's going to get pissed off and say, wait a minute, I wasn't involved in this tryst. They didn't invite me.
Yeah.
Because the nuns were calling, and get this, I told my wife this yesterday as we were cooking. I said, I finally figured out why you women say, "Oh God," in the midst of orgasm. And of course, my wife looked at me with his eyes like, yeah, what? I said, well, you're admitting, my God, my God, my God, your God, my God, my God, my God. The woman is declaring, my God.
I don't get it, Wayne, but that's okay.
She is proclaiming herself as God.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. And if you're going to say something, if you're going to yell a name in the midst of orgasm, yell your own name.
Yeah.
Empower yourself.
Oh, hell.
And I hate to say it, but the Pope is deep into this too. He is.
Yeah, he is. He knows about this. I think he knew about it when he was a cardinal. I don't think that this is any new revelation.
And is there, the cardinal is where you really start to have power in the Catholic Church. Is there is there some analogy between the color red and becoming a cardinal? Zora Dax says, why do you think he calls himself Poppy?
Yeah. And it's really interesting when I read the book, Gods of Eden, and just how powerful the Vatican is. I mean, they got hit squads. This is what people don't know. You know what? They have the CIA is probably maybe comparative to the spy organization the Vatican has.
So, Wayne, somebody says that at the moment of climax, they'd rather say their partner's name. Well, I don't know. I mean, saying your name or saying an agreed upon manifestation at that moment could be very, very powerful.
It is. And this is the story behind Lilith. Lilith spoke this Elohim's true name.
She did. She knew the name.
She knew the name. And even in the Kabbalah and in the Talmud, they say they cannot speak God's name. You
Nick
speak
Bravo
God's
says
name.
he screams Supergirl. I'm not sure why, but
If you speak God's name, you control them.
yeah. That's why they're so. That's why if the name Yahweh is all over the Bible, the one thing you know is his name is not Yahweh.
It's not Yahweh. That's what Lilith said as well.
Yeah.
That's what she told Raphael and Michael. And they backed down. There's something to that story. I know it's a myth, but there is something, Jeff, that tells me that there is more than a kernel of truth to it.
Tracy Dyer says it's possible that saying "Oh God" could be safer than mistakenly using the wrong name.
Many men have found that out. You see, one of the people always used to tell me, they said, well, you get all harped up on this name thing. A name is not important. I said, oh, really, sweetheart? So let me ask you something. Your husband's making love to you, and the minute he climaxes, he says, oh, Mary, but your name is Karen. Don't tell me a name don't mean anything, sweetheart.
All of a sudden, it means something right there.
I'll guarantee you, sunshine, you just figured out how much a name really means.
Well, Wayne, one time, and I'm not going to go there, but I was my second marriage. We were having our honeymoon in Vegas, right? And we got a little bit separated by some distance going over the walkway there at Mandalay Bay, going over to wherever that goes to. And I yelled out, "Hey, Stephanie." But that was the name of the first wife, not the one I was with. And
Jeff.
she stopped and she turned around and had this look on her face like, oh, I mean, that old saying, if looks could kill, I would have never left that walkway by Mandalay Bay.
If there's a cardinal sin, that's one of them.
On the honeymoon, bro.
Brother. Woo! Little chilly, huh?
Oh yeah, that was not good. But I mean, to my own defense, I had been married to Stephanie for 16 years. I hadn't been with her for 16 months yet, so give me a break. But the good news is it didn't last anyway, so I didn't have to deal with that for long.
I don't know why. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what was wrong with her.
Oh, my friend, what a show to! Oh, I'm not even going to monetize this sucker. I'm just going to put it out there because this is.
They'll probably knock it down.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to. This was today. Again, I think, we're into our second year on Not Your Normal Sunday Morning. Brother, this one will have to go in the archives as at the top 5.
What was the last one about that they didn't allow? They put it no.
Yeah, it was.
No ads. Where is it?
Yeah, what was it? It was because of we said something in there. And they're actually listening to it. May have been. I don't know. But
what was the title of that show? It was
last weekend.
Lilith, God, Bacchus, and more.
Yeah.
Not suitable for most advertisers. Yeah. Confirmed by manual review.
And I said, wow. Lynn looked at me and she said, you guys are pissing off some people.
I don't understand it.
Well, listen, the cult of Bacchus has probably not been spoken about, I would say on YouTube, less than several hundred, if that. The cult of Dionysus, again, these are things people don't want out. The angels don't even tread where you and I are at.
Interesting. It really is. And now over half of my videos will initially get that not suitable, got a review thing.
Yep.
And that costs you 1,000 views right there.
Yep. It does.
Like this one last night. Jesus disappears out of his robe, never to be seen again. Review requested.
Uh-huh. Did you use the word naked in that?
I took that out.
Okay, because that was probably, they're all over us.
The thumbnail says naked, though, still.
Yeah, I think that the Jesuits are all over you and I. I don't think they like you and I. But, here's their dilemma. You can attack you and I. All we're going to do is get popular. You can try to get us off. All we're going to do become more popular.
Well, here's another one, Wayne. Trump stated the union in Christian hypocrisy. Do we believe Paul? 50 Shades of Church. Not suitable for most advertisers, confirmed by manual review.
Yeah. You're on the
what's
list.
wrong with that one?
You're on the list. It's the same thing. They all through the month of January, they throttled my recommendations down.
Watch this. Joseph P. Farrell, off-world money drain, financial reset, Nazi Germany, World War II. Not suitable, confirmed by manual review. Maybe it was Nazi.
Nazi.
Yeah, I got to take the word. Can't use the word Nazi.
So now I'm getting very generic in my titles because they're all over us.
Dude, Wayne. Not your normal Sunday show. Lilith, God, Bacchus, and more. Not suitable for most advertisers. Confirmed by manual review.
Mm-hmm. When we brought up Lilith, that is, I've already received one email from a person overseas, and he says, "Do you realize what you just stepped in?"
I'm just getting started, Wayne.
That's what I told him.
And it's the key. It really is the key to everything.
Yeah. I just use your line. Why, Johnny Ringo, you look. Go ahead and finish it out.
You look like somebody just walked over your grave.
That's what I'm talking about.
And check this out. Third Temple, Black Magic, Brazen Altar and Laver, Blood, Brainwashing, End Time Prophecy. Not suitable, confirmed by manual review.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You're on the list. I am too.
I don't get it.
Because we are tipping over sacred cows here, brother.
Interesting.
Listen, you think about what these archons have done to blot Lilith out of the memory. And then you got two yahoos like us coming back in here, countering all the written material that she's a demon, that she's a succubus, an incubus, aborts 100, blah, 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 blah. And then you get these two yahoos come along and say, well, no, wait a minute. She seems maybe that what you're accusing her of is what you've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just this isn't even the tip of the iceberg. This is the snowflake on top of the snowbank on the top of the iceberg. So we're not even to the iceberg yet.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to punish you and I by, the measly few shekels we get on the advertising. I don't care. It's like I wrote to YouTube. I'll demonetize the whole, thing. And I said, where am I wrong? All I'm doing is quoting history.
Yeah. And here's one of the people and this is what happens when even smart, intelligent, woke people, none of us are immune. There's a comment here, sudden infant death syndrome, probably linked to the Lilith energy somehow. Lilith was said to be a child killer. Lilith never killed a child. Yahweh was killing the children.
It was Yahweh. Read the story.
Yeah, so even people like us are subject to 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years of mind control.
Yeah.
Lilith never killed one child. The children were killed because Yahweh said, if you don't come back and do what I say, I'm going to kill kids. He blames it on her. And when you can control the news and repeat a lie often enough, it can be suddenly tuned into truth.
Yeah. My contention is you can't show me where Lucifer of Lilith ever commanded one human to kill another human.
No. And Lilith may be the most besmirched figure in all of human history.
I think she was. And I got to tell you, in the more I've studied her, there's a fondness that grows within you.
Yeah.
I have a sense of deep empathy and compassion. She has been so maligned, yet I've never heard her voice rise in opposition.
And if there's if there's two people that are not in alliance, it's Yahweh and Lilith.
Yeah, that's a fact.
They are as far from aligned as you possibly can be, except for the fact that maybe Sophia Lilith And Sophia created Yahweh. That's why he really hates her, because she know. Oh, Wayne, that's why he really hates her.
I think you're hitting on exactly what happened here.
That's why he really hates her.
Yep.
Wow.
Write that down, my friend.
Yep.
See, I think she is the true creator.
Yep.
The feminine is the true creator.
That can't be argued.
I agree. And this is...
Even gay frogs can't have babies.
I love it. But this is where we're going. I mean, isn't this where... Listen, I've been thinking about... I was up at 4 o'clock.
They make the frogs gay. But they still can't have babies.
We started searching out for Sophia. We talked about Gaia. We talked about Pistis. And through this journey has led me, and I think you would probably agree to this, to Lilith's door.
Yeah.
Proverbs says that I was with God, the Creator, before there was anything else. I don't think I was his daily delight. I think I was her daily delight.
Mm.
And that's why we see wisdom as female.
Yep. Yep. Interesting stuff.
Oh, this has been good.
This was a good one.
Knock, knock.
Knock, knock. Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man, this has been fun, Jeff. Woo!
It has been good. Well, somebody says, Bud, wise her.
Woo. Okay. All right.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed the Not Your Normal Sunday show. Please return your songbooks to the seat back in front of you.
And don't be walking out with our material.
Yeah, and take your bongs with you.
Yeah.
Remove any of your residue.
Please. Stick the place up.
And don't forget to tip on the way out.
Yes. Make sure they put the tips there. We don't charge the tax.
So if you loved the show, give it a thumbs up. If you think it was a total waste of time, give it a thumbs down. Make your word known. And please subscribe. If you think we're dangerous, you better subscribe to us and keep an eye on us.
Yes, that's the best way.
If you think we're giving some good information, then you need to subscribe to us so you don't miss anything.
Indeed.
And Eric, we cross. I know Eric he's a little wound up, but that's okay.
Yeah, listen, it's all right, Eric. Consider it like this. All you did today was sit with a group of sapiens exchanging an idea.
Who you calling a sapien?
A sapien?
Yeah.
You sapien, you. Now, isn't that odd? We're called sapiens. Sapiens means wise, but sapien is directly linked to the word serpent.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Only one thing I know for sure, Wayne, and that is I'm in my prime.
You looking fine too, brother.
For our Wayne Steiger, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This has been Not Your Normal Sunday show. And, well, we're getting ready to do it again next week. So we hope that you are here with us. Until then, go over to Wayne's show. Check out his great material. We'll be back with some more today. And whatever you say about this, you don't get it many other places. That's for sure.
Not on Sunday morning either.
Not on Sunday morning.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.